3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? The first thing we want to talk about tonight is the unfortunate passing of Pat Patterson yesterday at the age of 79. From the release on WWE.com, it said, a true trailblazer of the industry, Patterson was linked to many firsts in sports entertainment throughout his storied career, including the first ever Intercontinental title reign and the creation of the Royal Rumble match. In a career spanning 6 decades, the Renaissance man left an indelible mark on the industry, in the ring, on the microphone, and behind the scenes. I pulled just some of his career highlights. He was an AWA World Tag Team Champion and New Japan Pro Wrestling NWA North American Tag Team Champion. He was a 24/7 champ in the WWE, a hardcore champ in the WWE, but of course the first ever Intercontinental Champion. He was put in the WWE Hall of Fame in 1996, Cauliflower Alley Club Lifetime Achievement Award 2008, Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame 1996, and the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame back in 2006 as well. You know, obviously 35 years old for me. Can't say that I've seen many a Pat Patterson match in my lifetime, but you know, I think about the time during the corporation, during the Attitude Era. Him and Briscoe were absolutely a fantastic team on air. And for me, it's more you watch some of these documentaries. Legends House was a blast that he was on, and some of the things he opened up about on that show, were really touching. But watch some of these documentaries, and you see the impact. You hear about the impact that he's had on today's product, on the product overall. And, it's for me, I'm sitting there and I, watched the tribute video that aired at the start of NXT last night. And it was the perfect song. WWE, they always do a tremendous job at these things. And, it like freaking punched me in the heart. I swear to God, it's super sad. And I think because, so many of the superstars that I grew up with and that we're watching now, and you see the pictures of Pat working with them, it makes you realize that even if they're not, these legends that are not in the ring anymore and they're working behind the scenes, the impact that they're still having on the industry to this day. So this one, yeah, it punched me a little different. And this year, is a different range of emotions as well. So maybe that played into it. But yeah, this one hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Patterson did more for did just as much for wrestling outside of the ring that he did in the ring. The one notable thing that it's common knowledge, or at least it is to most fans, but thanks to Pat Patterson, we have what some would say is the most iconic match in all of WWF history, the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Pat Patterson, also known as behind the scenes as being a good finish guy. Finding ways to tell the story, especially the end parts of a story in the ring. Pat Patterson is just always going to be remembered, at least for me, because again, I have not seen many of his matches because his heyday was in the 70s and 80s. But if you know of Pat Patterson, he was a fantastic tag team wrestler. One of his most iconic matches is is available online on YouTube right now. It may also be on the WWE network, but it is his alley fight with Sergeant Slaughter in Madison Square Garden in 1981. If you have not seen this match, do yourself a favor. It's 17 minutes long, and it puts any modern day street fight to shame. The brutality in 1981 in Madison Square Garden is up there with anything they can do in 2020. So Pat Patterson, definitely a trailblazer both inside and outside of the ring.
Jim, I think I'm kind of with you on this, that I've not seen a ton of Pat Patterson in matches. When I think of Pat Patterson, I think of the one-time hardcore champion, Pat Patterson. I also think of, like, he's one of Vince McMahon's stooges with Briscoe. That's kind of the role that I think of when I think of Pat Patterson. Not necessarily fair to his legacy and the impact that he's truly had, which is undeniable. But I feel like a lot of our fans, our age maybe and younger, are going to think of Pat Patterson solely as like that on-screen figure that always was like right up McMahon's ass.
Sure. Mark, how about you? You now, being a little bit older than us, do you remember Pat Patterson in the ring at all?
I was watching wrestling. Patterson was pretty much retired. I do remember back in the day when VHS tapes were a thing, and you go to the video store and rent VHS tapes. Getting some of the first WWF tapes, and Patterson would have some matches on there. Sometimes I think one of them was like the bloodiest cage matches, and Pat Patterson was on that. And that's kind of how I got to know him as a professional wrestler. And like Tim was saying with that match with Sergeant Slaughter, that is a must watch. If you're a fan, do yourself a favor and check that out. But I don't, other than that, I really didn't, I never saw him wrestle live. Maybe as a stooge with McMahon at some of the live events or the TV events I saw him, but nothing memorable stands out there. But the fact that him and Briscoe were a big part of the Attitude Era, I mean, even though it was comedy for the most part, it brought him and Briscoe to so many new fans. And like you guys remember him from the Attitude Era in the 90s. I mean, it's incredible. And
with
the fact that
with the hardcore title was,
what was that? I'm sorry, you broke up.
With the hardcore title, was it Patterson that did the slow count and the shush, or was that Briscoe? Or was it the two of them together, right? Like one of them, I forget which one who was pinning somebody. Well, so I think somebody was pinning Crash Holly, I believe. But yeah, I mean it's and I mean I'm fairly certain that Legends House is still on the WWE network if you dig back into it.
Yeah, if you go into
like
WWE
original
network,
programming or something,
you don't even have to go that far. There should be a section for celebrating Pat Patterson.
Oh, okay.
And it has a lot of different clips, including that Sergeant Slaughter match. Also a match with him and the innovator of the Mandible Claw, Dominic DeNucci.
Okay.
There's a couple of tag team matches with him and Andre the Giant. His Hall of Fame speech from 1996 is there. And Legends House. Now, I mean, Legends House is great for just
tons of reasons.
Yeah, but mainly for Pat, it was him coming out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn and say he's like the first gay wrestler. But like, I don't know anyone else like before him.
Yeah, I don't.
There may have been. And it sucks that he had to wait so long.
Sure.
Yeah.
But also being able to live his truth in a world like wrestling where it was completely out of the question,
right,
to be who you want to be. And unfortunately, in some circles, it still is.
Yeah.
And the fight that he fought for homosexuality is the fight that some people are fighting now in regards to gender fluidity
Right.
and being transgender or anything. So it's definitely a same hand, different type of scenario. I know that, like, I was listening to Sonny Kiss on the Chris Jericho podcast when he was on, and Sonny Kiss mentioned that one of his idols, or the people he looked up to in wrestling, Pat Patterson. And like, everybody understands the influence, regardless of where you are, whether you're gay or you're straight or whatever side of the aisle you're on, whether you're WWE or AEW. Like, Pat Patterson's well known. I mean, Pat Patterson got a nod, or not a nod, but they did a tribute to him as well on AEW television.
Yeah.
And he never spent a day on their programming.
Right. Yeah. And
not a second, but he's such an iconic and respected figure in the world of wrestling that you just have to take your hat off.
There's an episode in particular of Legends House that it's towards the end of the season, I believe, when they're out to dinner and Pat is having a very long and open conversation with the entire group about his life and his sexuality and all of that. And like it, just thinking about, I'm literally getting goosebumps, like thinking about it. And I watched Legends House when it came out. I have not watched it since it came out. Now I will probably go, now that we're talking about it, I'll probably go back and, if nothing else, watch that episode. If you haven't watched it and you don't watch the entire season, which I recommend because it is a freaking hoot. You get to see Piper on there, who's no longer with us, of course, either. Mean Gene as well.
Four are dead.
What are the other? Who are the other two? Well, who was the other one now? The Fink. That's right. Fink was on there.
And
it's Pat, the Fink, Mean Gene, and Pipe.
And Piper now.
But at least find that episode and find that clip, and hell, they may have the clip may be on YouTube or something at this point, but
it's out there.
Yeah. I mean, check it out. It really is. It's a heartwarming and touching moment.
And even if you don't have it on YouTube, WWE Network is free.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm curious if the Pat Patterson stuff is on the free version.
It honestly might be, because I mean, most of it is old stuff anyway. Like, it's
right,
and but yeah, it's Pat Patterson again, age of 79. Pat, here's to you, ma'am. 3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? December the 3rd, we have one birthday. Wolfgang, NXT, half of the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, was born in 1986. Then we go back to 1984. Ted DiBiase and Hercules Hernandez defeat the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, to win the Mid-South Tag Team titles in New Orleans, Louisiana. In 1991, WWF held their This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, in front of 8,000 fans. The show featured 9 dark matches, 5 main card matches, and was considered a failure with a buy rate of only 1.0. The main event saw Hulk Hogan pin The Undertaker after throwing ashes from Paul Bear's urn into The Undertaker's eyes to win the WWF World title. Then WWE President Jack Tunney made an announcement airing on the December 7th edition of WWF Superstars that the title was vacated and would go to the winner of the following month's Royal Rumble match due to 2 disputed finishes. Of course, this one at Tuesday in Texas and the previous week's Survivor Series. In 2000, ECW held their next to last pay-per-view, Massacre on 34th Street, from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City in front of 2,600 fans. The show featured 2 dark matches, 8 main card matches. It was main evented by Steve Corino with Jack Victory, defeating Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible with Francine in a 3-way dance for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. 2006, WWECW held their final pay-per-view, December to Dismember, at the James Brown Arena in Augusta, Georgia, in front of 4,800 fans. The show's 90,000 pay-per-view buy rate was the lowest in WWE history before the creation of the WWE Network. The show was headlined by Bobby Lashley.
Bob! Ooh, I know this one.
Bobby Lashley defeating The Big Show, Test, RVD, Hardcore Holly, and CM Punk in an Extreme Elimination Chamber match for the ECW World Championship. The show is considered to be one of the worst
Greatest
pay-per-views in WWE history, and saw shortly after this Paul Heyman leave the WWE.
Immediately after.
Well, from doing a little bit of research, it sounds like his contract was up and he just was ready to leave. But yes.
Yeah, but he could have resigned.
He
Big
could.
Show,
He-
Big Show also left too.
Oh, yes. But those were all the items that occurred December the 3rd in pro wrestling
God,
history.
What a great pay-per-view.
Woof.
How do you mess that up? An elimination chamber with weapon. How can you screw that up?
Because one of the weapons was a whole ass table.
I mean,
Unreal.
Wait, that was about the beginning of the end for ECW too, with WWE.
yeah, because this is the final pay-per-view. I didn't look up to what their actual like final.
I don't think it was much longer after that.
But yeah,
WWECW went on for a while.
Did it really?
Yes,
No.
WWECW went. It last episode February 16, 2010.
it went on for 4 more fucking years after this.
Yes.
They
No
just
way.
well,
way.
did they just start incorporating ECW stuff into WWE pay-per-views? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
ECW title would be defended on
God, I can't
the
believe it was
regular
that long.
pay-per-view.
Oh,
Jeez.
I
Yeah.
can't either. That's crazy.
There were three general managers. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 commentary teams.
That I believe.
Thing sucks.
And yeah.
Was it moved to online?
It was on Sci-Fi
Ooh,
the whole time.
ooh,
I mean, I guess what else is on Sci-Fi that's drawing those numbers?
Right. Well, right. That's to say, is that whenever they talk about, well, WWE's ratings are in decline, and then you look, even on
Yeah.
Sci-Fi, they were pulling the highest numbers.
What did ECW get replaced with on Sci-Fi Network literally the next week?
Silk stockings.
No.
Oh,
Reruns of Tales from the Crypt.
No. It's a
Oh.
WWE property.
Was
Total Bellas.
SmackDown went to Sci-Fi, didn't they?
They were wild and young.
Wild and young.
They turned into the Nexus. The original NXT
No shit.
with Wade Barrett and
Wow.
Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater and Daniel Bryan.
Well,
and
I'm afraid I've got some
Yes.
bad news.
That was on
debuted.
Sci-Fi?
Yes.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I had no clue. I guess that was in my. Was that in my dead period? When was that?
That was
It was in everybody's dead period, Jim.
I was there.
Everybody but Tim.
Yeah. It was on Sci-Fi for the first season. Then afterwards it was on WWE.com. And then it
No
got
clue.
moved to Hulu.
Tim was like, "Hey guys, did you guys see this?"
I've been
I
here the
don't
whole
think so,
time,
Tim.
baby.
I don't think so, Tim.
But oh wow, yeah, I didn't realize that went on for four more years after that.
No
That's
clue. Unreal.
Yeah, I
can't believe
love
it. Doesn't seem like it.
I love me some WWE CW, man.
crazy.
Like, I'm telling you right now, I could do a watch of everything from WWE CW as like a review show.
Well,
Tim, I'll do a watch along with you. Let's pick the worst match you can think from that pay-per-view, and we'll watch along. Now that pay-per-view is only what, an hour and a half?
I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
think like the opening match and the
30?
closing match were like 20 minutes, and the rest was about 6. I think each match is about 6
The
minutes
worst
long.
match on that card. Let me see. Oh
Now,
man,
was
Thing
this
sucks.
Mordecai or like Kevin Thorne? This would be Kevin Thorne,
this
right?
is Kevin
Fucking
Thorne.
Mordecai.
With Ariel.
Yes.
Yeah, Ariel was there.
Yeah,
I
she
liked
was good
Ariel.
looking.
The worst match on this card is absolutely Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker.
Oh,
I
that
believe
sounds
that.
terrible.
Yeah.
And this didn't. This wasn't successful. Hard to believe.
Tim, you missed the watch along Jim and I
Yeah.
did the other day. That was a lot of fun.
What did y'all cover?
We covered Mike Awesome versus Masada Tanaka from One Night Only.
Oh
Or
man,
One Night Stand.
that was
Jeez.
insane.
Those
One night
guys,
stand.
those guys hated each other.
Dude, that match.
like
that match was hard to
They
watch
didn't.
at times.
That
Yeah,
was tough. That really was.
it was hard to watch that for sure.
Go
just
back
like-
today and know
That
what
was
we
a
know
great
about
pay-per-view.
headshots. Ooh. Yeah, it's tough
Or
to
the
watch.
or the power bombs to the floor.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
Just
yep.
F
And
you,
then
buddy.
Awesome, like leaping over at the end before anybody knew he was okay. Yeah, it was rough.
Mike Awesome was a freak.
Really good.
Yeah, I
I forgot how good he was.
and you can check out that show. It's on our archives. And we posted it here. The video's on our YouTube and everything. But like, I watched that, man, and I think I remember seeing that show, and I was just I don't remember Mike Awesome being like that. Was just unreal.
And that was him. Like
Yeah.
height of
Yeah.
powers, he
Yeah.
was insane.
Yeah.
Like-
WCW killed his character completely. But that
Like
was him in ECW.
when he went to WCW and he became like the fat chick thriller and that 80s guy or that 70s guy. Like don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, he
Terrible.
made that 70s guy work. But being
as
that
best you could with that
killer
gimmick.
Mike Awesome, like God. But there's only some with a character like that Mike Awesome, he would have just like, unless you put him at the top of the card, like you had to push him down some way
Right.
Yep.
because he wouldn't have been denied. Like he would have been doing stuff that the fans were just like, yup, all of this forever.
But yeah, so check that out, and if you have any more ideas of different watch-alongs you want to see, I think there was an episode or two of like Superstars. I think somebody had messaged into us, so we'll get around
I'd
to
love
those.
to go
things.
back and watch one of them for sure. I'm sure like El Matador's on one of
I've
them.
dude, I've gone back and watched a couple of the ones from the Hershey Park Arena, the episode
We have
Superstars, and it's
I've watched a bunch of them on the network.
it's a
like,
blast. It's a fun little watch.
Yeah.
Like kill it.
Is
So
Mania
did-
or anything on there with like Todd Grisham?
I don't know if Mania's on there.
Yeah,
I don't know. And you mean Todd Pettengill?
Whatever.
Yeah.
say they're
Yeah,
same.
Todd Pettengill.
By the way, I'm
They have,
shameless plug to our pal the Boar. Still the most comfortable fucking wrestling shirt I've ever bought
Every
in
shirt of his is
in
made back
my
in-
life. I love this one. I think he has he has like the wolf pack themed one now.
That shirt is the best shirt in wrestling history.
That shirt
That
is
might
hot.
be. That's a
But
great
does he
shirt.
still have the SmackDown,
The Boar Zone, yes.
the Boar Zone? I might have to get that one too because I love
Yep.
it. I love like vintage style ones, but he finally got
If
the
you're-
fat man sizes in these back
If
in
you're
stock.
interested, hit him up at Boris War. I know he was for Black Friday, but he may be doing it too. Like a lot of people were doing like % off sales, and he understands that % off doesn't work for everybody during this time. Like
That's legit. Real
Talk-
legit.
talk to him and tell him that Tim from 3 Count Thursday sent you and that you want one of the softest shirts in the history of this great sport. And we will make something work for you. We meaning he.
Yeah.
He's not in my pocket. I don't have him.
Yeah, he's good people. He's all time good place, good people.
He's a good placer. He's always at the height of his powers.
He is.
And he lifts real heavy stuff.
And thick thighs on the board.
Thick 'em.
Real thick 'em.
He's the definition of a hoss.
Yeah. Three Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?